Hello, welcome to Weaving Weird Studio and my creative weird life. My name is Sig, and what a pleasure it is to have you with me at this time today. So, as you can see, I'm going to show you today how to do these 3-leaf and 4-leaf modified Irish crochet clovers. And then also, I've included this clover flower, this red clover flower or purple clover flower, whatever you want to call it, that's fine. Now, these pieces, these clover motifs, are standalone, and that's what I'm showing you today. As you can see, it's on a block. Now, this block is just one of many blocks that I am putting together in a series of blocks to make a sampler quilt. And the series of this quilt is called Wise Woman's Medicine Garden. So it's going to show several different blocks, and each block is going to have the name of a medicinal herb and then the crocheted lace version of that herb or plant or whatever vegetation it happens to be. And that, of course, will be interdispersed with other blocks, and each other block is going to be an example of a different stitch or a different combination of stitches, and thus the sampler quilt. But that's going to be something that evolves over time. And so while I have several different examples in my playlist of different stitches you might be interested in doing and incorporating into your own Afghan, this is the first block that I've actually created that represents the blocks that will have the lace work of the various different medicinal plants. But again, today we're just going to go ahead and show you how to actually do the lace motif itself. So you can put that lace motif on a block if you like this, or maybe you have a different project you want to put it on. You could put it on let's say like a typical granny square. You can just sew that on there. You can sew it as a wonderful applique onto a crocheted or knitted piece that you've gifted to somebody. There's a lot of things you can do. So with all that said, it's your interest and support that allows me to contribute new content and weekly videos. Help us all grow together by tapping the subscribe bar, notification bell, and like buttons. I look forward to your comments and always value your feedback. Now let's get started. Now for today's video, you're going to really just need 4 or 5 items, right? Scissors, of course, being one. I'm using a number 10 or a size 10 crochet thread. And so because of that, I am going to use my trusty number 2 1.5 millimeter steel hook. I also need to have a smallish tapestry needle. And then the colors. Now you can do this in a monochromatic tone if you like. I prefer to use some color on this one. So I am using these size 10 crochet threads from Curio. This product is distributed through Knit Picks, and the colors are, in this case, Jalapeno, and this one is Heliotrope. Heliotrope is a flower that is this kind of purplish pinky color. So without too much more rambling on, I'm going to go ahead and start showing you how to make this motifs. So with my jalapeno green crochet thread, I'm going to go ahead and make an adjustable ring. And now if I'm making a 3-leaf clover, I am going to single crochet in my adjustable ring 19 single crochets. However, if I want to make the 4-leaf clover, I'm going to need to single crochet 25 stitches in my adjustable ring. So I'm going to show you how to make this clover by doing the 3-leaf clover. So I need 19 single crochets. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. I'm going to go ahead and tighten my ring. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch into that first single crochet. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to single crochet in the same stitch. And then I'm going to single crochet in the additional 18 stitches after that. And then I'm going to join. So now I've completed my first 2 rounds. And I am going to begin making my first leaf. And we're going to do this in rows. So my first row is going to begin, or my first leaf, the first row in my first leaf. I'll begin with making 17 chains. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. And then I'm going to single crochet in the 6th chain from the hook. So right in here. Then a half double crochet in the next stitch, and a half double crochet in the stitch after that. Next stitch will be a double crochet, and then a treble crochet in the stitch after that. So far your piece should look a bit like this. Next thing I want to do is I want to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I want to single crochet in the 6th chain from the hook. So right there. Next thing I want to do, or in the next stitch, I want to do a half double crochet. And then the stitch after that, I want to do a double crochet. And then the stitch after that, I want to do a treble crochet. Now the next thing I want to do is a double crochet, but I want to place my double crochet right here in the center of the next treble crochet. So it'll look something like this. And then I'm going to skip these next couple of stitches, and I'm going to double crochet in the next stitch. Once, and then double crochet in the stitch after that. And then I want to do a half double crochet in the next stitch, and then a half double crochet in the stitch after that. Then I want to do a single crochet in my very last chain stitch right there. And then in this stitch, I'm going to do a slip stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1. So your piece should look similar to this so far. And what I've done is, if I wasn't very clear before, I slip stitched into this stitch right here on the ring, into the single crochet. Now I'm going to turn my work, and we're going to get started with row 2 of the leaf. So for row 2, I want to single crochet 11 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Then I want to single crochet 5 single crochets into this chain 5 loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then I'm going to single crochet and half double crochet. And I'm going to do a double crochet. And now in the next stitch, I want to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So 1 and 2. Then I'm going to skip the next 2 stitches, and I'm going to do 2 double crochets again in the stitch after that. 1 and 2. So far it should look like this. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a double crochet in the next stitch, and then a half double crochet in the stitch after that, and then a single crochet in the stitch after that. I'm going to do 5 single crochets in the 5 chain loop here on the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to do 11 single crochets down the length of this leaf. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 11. Again, I'm going to slip stitch in that stitch right there on the ring. Next stitch over. I'm going to slip stitch, I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to turn my work. And your work should look something like this so far. And we're going to begin row 3. Now for row 3, I'm going to single crochet all the way around, and that'll give me 42 single crochets. Now that I've completed my row of single crochets, again, in the next stitch on the ring, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch, chain 1, and turn my work. And then we're going to begin row 4. Now in row 4, we're going to start off by single crocheting 10 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now we're going to start a series of increases. I'm going to do this series 4 times, and the series is basically 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet, and 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet, and 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet, and 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and 1 single crochet on the stitch after that. Now I want to single crochet 7 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I'm going to start that series of 4 stitches again. So basically I'm going to increase, and then a single crochet, and then an increase, and then a single crochet, and then an increase, and then a single crochet, and then 1 more increase, and then a single crochet. And then we'll finish up this row with a single crochet 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I'm going to slip stitch in the next stitch on the ring, and I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to turn my work. Now the next row is row 5. And in row 5, I'm going to double crochet back loop only 50 times. So I've got 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So as you continue on, you should look like this so far. 7, 'kay, so now that you've gotten your 50 double crochets, your back loop only, on your first leaf, you're going to go ahead and slip stitch in your next stitch on the ring, and then chain 1. And then the next thing we're going to do to finish this leaf off is a reverse single crochet or a crab stitch. And you're going to do 50 of those. Those who are unfamiliar with a reverse single crochet or a crab stitch, it's just really quite simple. Instead of going in the direction you might normally crochet, you're going to bring it back. And it's basically just like it sounds, a single crochet that's reversed. So I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to move the hook into the stitch facing, in this case, my right hand. If you're left-handed, it's going to be in the stitch in your left hand direction. And then I'm going to insert my hook and I'm going to pull through my yarn, and then yarn over and then pull that yarn through. And that gives me this reverse stitch, this nice clean edge stitch. What it's also helping me to do, and this is part of the modification, is it's allowing me to continue creating these what appear to be individual leaves on my clover, while just still using the same the same thread, the same yarn. So in other words, normally what I would have to do is I would have to fasten off my yarn, and then I would have to start my new leaf at a different location. This just allows me to give myself a nice clean edge. That works fantastically when I'm sewing this motif applique onto another fabric because it makes it real easy to hide my stitch work when I'm sewing along the edge. Like, even if you're using a super basic whip stitch, right? It just lays and hides itself real nicely in the diagonal direction of the natural stitch from the reverse stitch. And now that I've completed my 50 reverse stitches, I now am going to want to do 4 slip stitches in reverse. Okay, so basically that's just doing a slip stitch, but going in the opposite direction. So normally I would do my slip stitches going into towards my left hand direction, but I'm going to do these next 4 stitches going into a right hand direction, right here along the stitches on my ring. And just take your time. It can be a little tricky, but it's not too crazy. And so now you should have something that looks like this. And you should get ready to start your next leaf. And so again, I'm going to chain 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And basically, I'm going to repeat for the second leaf exactly what I did with the first leaf, and then for that third leaf, I'm going to do the same thing. Things are going to change just a little bit towards the end of the third leaf when we start working our way into the stem. And now if you were doing a 4-leaf clover, of course, you would have had your 24 single crochets on your ring instead of the 19 single crochets we have on this ring for the 3-leaf clover, and you would do an additional 3 leaves. So go ahead and take care of your next 2 or 3 leaves, and I will meet you back here in just a moment. So now that you have your 3 leaves on your clover, it should look something like this. And then this time we're going to do 2 slip stitches. We're going to go just right in here into this stitch, this next stitch, with 1 slip stitch, and then into these next stitch over, and that'll be the second slip stitch. And then now you just need to decide about, how long you want your stem. And so the amount of chains you make is going to just basically is up to you depending on the length of the stem you actually want. All right, so once we do that, I'm going to skip the first chain, and I'm going to chain into or single crochet into the second chain from the hook. And then I'm going to just single crochet in each one of those chains until I make my way back up to the leaves. And once I make my way all the way back up, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to single crochet in each stitch down the other side. And I'm not just going to do it in the chain, I'm actually going to hook my single crochet right up here underneath the top, front, and back loops of the previous single crochets. And this is kind of another modified approach to the Irish crochet. So instead of putting in your padding cord, I'm sort of using the thickest part of the previous chain and single crochet, kind of like a padding cord in a way. Now, once you've completed that row, just go ahead and fasten that off. And now you've completed your stem. And all you have to do is just block your motif and include it in whatever piece you've got, whether it's an applique piece or an insertion piece. Now the next thing we're going to do is the clover blossom. Again, you're going to want to make your stem to your own desired length. So you're going to begin by just chaining the length of what you would like to have your stem as. Okay. And then when you get it to the desired length, then you're going to want to chain 5 more. And then you're going to want to single crochet in the 5th chain from the hook. And again, like the clover, going to single crochet down the length of your stem. Then you're going to chain 1 and you're going to single crochet up the opposite side of your stem. And then when you get back to the loop, then you're going to fasten off. And I'll meet you there in just a moment. Okay. So now I've got my stem chained to my desired length. And I'm going to now add the Heliotrope color, this purpley pink color. So I'm going to go ahead and tie that into my 5 chain loop. I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to double crochet 8. And for the actual blossom part, I have just completed my first row. So now I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to double crochet in the next stitch. And chain 2. And I'm going to do this 6 more times. I'm going to double crochet in the next stitch. And I'm going to chain 2. So now that I have my 7 chain 2 spaces, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double crochet 1 more time in that very last stitch. So that should leave me with a total of 8 open spaces. I'm going to turn my work and we're going to begin row 3. So in row 3, I'm going to chain 3. And then in this first chain 2 space, I'm going to do a 4 double crochet popcorn. So I'm going to go ahead on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so here we have our chain 3 that acts as kind of a double crochet, and then we have our 4 double crochets. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my hook, and I'm going to insert my hook back at the beginning of these 4 double crochets plus this chain 3. And I'm going to insert my hook, and I'm going to grab that loop that I left off at, and I'm going to pull. And that gives me my first popcorn. And then I'm going to chain 3. And I'm going to make another popcorn, but this time I'm going to use 5 double crochets in that chain 2 space. So just as before, I leave off and I go to that very first double crochet and I re-pick up that loop, and then I just pull that loop through and tighten it up to create my next popcorn. I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to do that again for each of the next chain 2 spaces. So your piece should look like this so far. And then I'm going to turn my work. So now that I've turned my work, I'm going to slip stitch into that open space. I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet. And then I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to single crochet in that next chain 3 space. And again, I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to single crochet into the next chain 3 space. And again, chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And single crochet into the next chain 3 space. And then again. And then of course single crochet in the next chain 3 space. Chain 5. And then single crochet. And then one more time, I'm going to chain 5. And single crochet. So you should have 6 loops, 6 5-chain loops. Now I'm going to turn my work. And I'm going to slip stitch 3. And then I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to single crochet in the next chain 5 loop. Then I'm going to chain 5. And then single crochet in the next chain 5 loop. I'm going to chain 5 again. And again, single crochet in the next chain 5 loop. I'm going to chain 5 one more time. And then single crochet in the next chain 5 loop. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. and I'm going to do 4 double crochets in this last chain 5 loop. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So your piece should look like this now. So now I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to slip stitch 3. And then I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to double crochet 3 in this chain 3 space. Now I'm going to chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 5 space, chain 5 again, and single crochet in the next chain 5 space, and then chain 5 one more time, and single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Now I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to double crochet 4 double crochets in the next chain 3 space. So if you haven't already noticed, this is essentially a basic pineapple stitch for the blossom. It makes a beautiful blossom in terms of this lace work, so why not? So I'm going to turn my work now, and I'm going to slip stitch 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to double crochet 3 in the next, or in this chain 3 space. 1 and 3. And then I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to single crochet in the next chain 5 space. I'm going to chain 5, and then I'm going to single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to double crochet 4 in this next chain 3 space. And I'm going to turn my work. And I'm going to slip stitch 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to chain 3. And I'm going to double crochet 3 in that same chain 3 space. I'm going to chain 3. And I'm going to single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And chain 3 again. I'm going to double crochet 4 double crochets in the next chain 3 space. And then I'm going to turn my work. So we're almost finished. I'm going to slip stitch 3. And then I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to double crochet 3 double crochets in this next chain 3 space. And then I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to double crochet 4 in the next chain 3 space. And then I'm going to, so far you should look like this, and we've got basically another step to do, another row, last row. And I turn my work, and again, chain 3, or sorry, again, slip stitch 3. Chain 3 in that chain 1 space. And then you're going to do 3 double crochets in that chain 1 space. And finish off. And that's all there is to it. Now, of course, the next thing you're definitely going to want to do is block your work. And if you've gotten this far with me, you're probably aware of how to block your work. So, you know, just, it's all good. Now is the time for me to say goodbye. So until I see all you wonderful and creative fiber artists again, stay crafty, stay amazing, and above all, keep weaving your weird. Have a great day now. Bye-bye.